So, climbing games, huh? There's something inherently satisfying about climbing to the top of something in order to reach a goal. It's the premise of countless hits across many games. Some that come to mind being Getting Over It, Celeste, JustDillan. I mean, this one's literally just called a difficult game about climbing. Slowly navigating through obstacles and constantly progressing up a mountain is simply a fun and rewarding concept, as it's easy to understand how far you've come just by looking around, usually being able to see the areas you've already passed through. And the more you climb, the more you learn and eventually master the mechanics of a game, so subsequently the harder the climb becomes.
It's so slippery, it's so slippery, no.
Some games work this progression against the player. Having it so a misplaced jump or a risky maneuver can set their progress back, sometimes reverting hours of climbing, which is why the funny Markiplier rage clip exists. It's this back and forth, climbing, falling, a constant tension, the fear of losing progress that motivates your ascent, the prospect of overcoming the odds. It makes climbing games either insanely fun or insanely frustrating. So, what if a game was both?
Reminder, employee morale initiatives are still in effect. Please report for routine psychological evaluations.
White Knuckle is an amazing fresh take on the climbing game genre, introducing a variety of mechanics that give it so much depth, pun intended, don't laugh too hard. 1 second I'm clambering up monochrome silos, trudging through the twisted tunnels of pipeworks, then I'm shuffling up an elevator shaft, micromanaging the charge of my flashlight lest I'm shrouded in darkness, only to find out that I am not the only one in here. Seriously, this game is a great experience, and I mean, I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what this game has to offer, so I might as well start at the beginning.
Also, really quickly, spoilers, if you have not already, play the game first, and then come back here.
So, White Knuckle doesn't waste any time, pressuring you to start climbing the moment you start the campaign, telling you in full caps, escape. You start off in the silos, substructure 17, in an industrial sector called Deep Storage, filled with walkways, ladders and machinery. This overall serves as a sort of training area, marked with clear route indications but also allowing for a lot of experimentation, letting the player know that, oh, I can go whichever way I want as long as I go up. It's also supplied with many of the game's basic items for you to familiarise yourself. Progressing up the silos, you'll come across either the shattered chambers or air exchange, each one introducing new hazards and traversal methods along the way. In the case of air exchange, these big fans serve to massively increase your jump height, but also turn you into a fine mist if you aren't paying attention. And in Shattered Chambers, my favourite level,
Shattered Chambers.
it's super open and also introduces smashy spike plates, which force you to rush your climbing unless you just climb around them like a normal person. I didn't mention it earlier, but throughout almost the entirety of White Knuckle, you are being slowly chased by a mass, which is why falling can become so detrimental, possibly leading you to losing a run over a risky jump. I've also neglected to talk about enemies, which at these first stages don't pose much of a threat, as there's only one type of enemy in the silos, which go by the name of barnacles. No, not those barnacles, although they are suspiciously similar, pulling you in if you accidentally mistake one of their tendrils for rebar, or just run into it whilst climbing. But even this can be easily defended against by just smacking them with your hammer. Anyways, you'll eventually reach a control room of sorts with a big button glowing on the panels. This is the first real checkpoint of White Knuckle. You can find a computer here that'll upgrade your character, usually being generic stamina or encumbrance upgrades. The real bangers being locked behind a paywall. Oh, also forgot to mention that there's a bunch of gross little roaches everywhere. Some of them will be gold or even rarer, platinum. These can be deposited into machines found across Substructure 17 and can be used to buy items or, in this case, upgrades. You can also purchase a small floppy disk. Inserting this into the computer asks you if you'd like to reformat the disk. Pressing proceed will... whatever that was is the reason I called this a checkpoint, as dying now will spawn you back here, instead of losing all your progress.
Warning. Severe elevator malfunction detected. Avoid elevator.
Now we move on to the second chapter of White Knuckle, Pipeworks. These levels are made up of sewer drains, tunnels, and you guessed it, pipes. So many pipes. It's also where the game starts to up the challenge with new hazards and enemies, and you'll find that specifically drainage system and waste heap are more claustrophobic, twisting up pipes and clambering through small spaces. By now, most climbers have started speeding through the map, which is why these evil developers place pipes that spew out steam every so often, which, as you may have inferred, cause you to lose your grip, meaning that you have to stop dead in your tracks in the middle of climbing or find a different route. Additionally, Waste Heap, as well as looking so beautifully hideous, has two additional creatures, the first being the Strider. He honestly doesn't do much. You can climb him, pet him, but that's all really. But, oh man, Pipeworks gives us the worst enemy in the game, Bloodbugs. These freaks are everywhere in Waste Heap and Drainage System, constantly flying at you to knock you off whatever you were climbing, and they are persistent.
Waste reduction at 19%.
Now, once you reach the end of Pipeworks, the setting shifts back to the familiar tone of grey concrete. This is Ascent. This room is, for lack of a better words, massive, with a single elevator in the middle of the space, thank God. There's a couple items scattered around the lift and even a vending machine, so it's clear that you'll need them.
You are en route to Habitation Yellow. Please enjoy your alert. Elevator security locks are still in place. Manual override will be required.
Of course it wasn't going to be that easy. The first time I played this section, it was genuinely nerve-wracking, as, akin to the intro of this video, falling here would mean the rest of my run would be over. There's 3 elevator locks you need to disengage to continue your ascent, with nothing but a straight fall to the bottom besides a small ledge to hook onto if you mess up. That's 3 locks down, we should be able to...
Warning. Class 7 fluid has been detected. For the safety of Habitation Yellow, airlock seal mechanisms must be engaged.
Oh my god. Again, same applies here, but even more so since you're higher up this time. Finally, you reach the other backup lock to Habitation Yellow, then...
Alert. Airlock seal is priming. You have 30 seconds to return to the emergency personnel.
I'd say I was pretty good at the game at this point, but as soon as I heard that I was on a timer, all skill left my body. Climb! Holy. Well, now that the elevator doors are closed and there's no more surprise locks, we finally get to see Habitation Yellow. Wow. I've found that games sometimes struggle to convey scale in a meaningful way, but White Knuckle in particular places its grand structures front and center, the reveal of Habitation Yellow being the most notable. Small spoiler alert, it does not get any easier from here. Taking a moment to admire this set piece, I'd like to quickly add that this random crane in the background can be fully scaled, and actually rewards you for doing so, even dropping some lore. I can't wait for Pyrocynical to make a 3-hour video about this. Moving on, we have to go on a slight detour to get into Habitation Yellow, this access door being completely unpowered. Heading off into this side room, we're given the flashlight to head into the darkened breaker room. Subtle foreshadowing. This thing has to be constantly cranked to keep it bright, reminding me of the same mechanic from Amnesia the Bunker. These two scenarios being eerily similar, but regardless, the door to Habitation Yellow is open, and we're finally given a gun. No, not that type of gun. God, I wish. A flare gun, but still an important tool to add to our collection. This is also a second checkpoint, so really quick, Now we enter the first level of Habitation Yellow, the service shaft. And oh look, it's pitch black. Climbing up the shaft... Actually, I don't like the way that sounded. Climbing up the empty elevator space, you hear the speaker announce...
Reinforcement systems activating.
This section is genuinely terrifying. I kid you not. My live commentary of this section, I was dead silent because all of my brain power was focused on getting away from that thing. It can be repelled momentarily by firing your flare gun at it, but this is a very short moment of peace, with it usually appearing just a couple seconds after being scared off, but just enough time to create some distance. You can find a small section of rooms through a roll-up door where the monster thankfully can't get into. Here you can find a little bit of lore and the best item in the entire game. Milk. Anyway, back to it. After climbing for a little while, you can duck into an open vent, emerging on the other side on top of the elevator, disengaging the locks and... hopefully crushing that thing. Making it out of service shaft, we arrive at Haunted Pier, a well-deserved reprieve in the form of a vending machine, a couple spread out items, and an overall stress-free climb. Even getting to operate a crane to continue making progress, but of course, all good things come to an end. Stepping into a lounge room in a lab of some sort, the only way forward being an open hole in the ceiling. Delta Labs, the last section of White Knuckle. These levels also being the hardest. Dying here is brutal, either sending you back to service shaft or wiping your run completely. Climbing through yet another event, messages are sprawled out.
Don't look away from them and gone.
We have to deal with yet another creature. This guy, as the messages hinted at, can be easily deterred by just looking at his grubby little fingers, but he'll continue to pester you as you progress through Delta Labs, so you need to check your back every so often, a lesson I learned all too well by playing Sniper for more than 5 seconds in TF2. Scaling up through some more vents, it opens up to a bigger space. I felt like it'd only be a matter of time before this game introduced turrets. These can be disabled as power is briefly shut off every so often, or they can just be thrown if you get close enough. There's also some really unique set pieces as we progress up. I mean, I'd love to understand the lore implications of the strange red TV room, but it sure does look cool. I'm just going to take this really quick. Disabling a couple more turrets, you can keep... oh, holy god. Passing through the end of Delta Labs turrets and that grabby dude, we finally reach the end of Habitation Yellow at an evacuation route. A big industrial door leading to Substructure 3.
Evacuate habitation yellow.
This is actually where the game ends. Thank God, really, this video was getting too long for my channel anyway. White Knuckle is only just released in early access. There's a lot more to talk about when it comes to this game, like more advanced movements, such as the rebar's mid-air push being used to your advantage, performing what I call a rebar boost, and what the community dubbed as a spear jump? And how the lore connects into all the hidden secrets, but I'm not a big lore guy. All in all, like I said at the beginning of this video, White Knuckle is a damn good climbing game. One that's filled with tension, adventure, but overall, it's just plain fun. The movement feels smooth, the mechanics are interesting, and its style is delightfully unique. And, well, that marks the end of the video. This video was a huge change for me, as I've never written this sort of script, that being a gameplay synopsis as well as a review, but I'm just experimenting right now, so I'd love for you to tell me how the video was in the comments, or just give it a like or a dislike, that works too. Either way, thanks a ton for watching. If you want more reviews, I've done 2 more kinda like this one, but a lot shorter. You can find one for Hunt Showdown right here. As always, if you like my content, make sure to subscribe, as I'll be making videos just like this one and some other stuff, so watch out for that. And that's it. Bye bye.
You must not go into the castle. There's an ancient curse. You cannot go.
White Knuckle is an amazing fresh take on the climbing game. God damn it! I was doing so well. Climbing up the empty...
And gone. And gone. Don't look away from there. This is stupid.